Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Casual from Casual GG, and we are back today with another video on my Heavy Attack Sorc build. I've been spending so much time with the Arcanis in the past month that I've forgotten about my Heavy Attack Sorc. And also with the recent changes to the Empower buff, so rather than our usual 80% buff to the heavy attacks, now the Empower buff in Open Soul gives 70%. So I took out my Heavy Attack Sorc, ran a few Bastion Nymics, and oh boy, the Heavy Attack Sorc is still one of the strongest build you can use as a solo casual player. Now the flow is, I'll show you guys two boss fights, one from the Pestilence Bastion Nymics, which is full of poison and so forth. That's actually happening in the background now. And the second one would be the Irrefutable Herald, which has that one-shot mind attack mechanics. So let's jump into the build. In terms of attributes, put everything into Magicka. Sorcerers are just built so strong, they have enough health to sustain them. In fact, with this build, once everything kicks in, you'll have 27,000 plus life. It's more than enough for survivability. So just pump everything into Magicka and you'll have good damage. In terms of race, go Dark Elf for this build, and in terms of Mundus, go with Thief, because the way the gears are laid out, you'll have enough penetration from the gears. Talking about gears, the gear sets we're gonna use is a one-piece Valkyrie Scoria for penetration. The heart of the heavy attack build is gonna be the Sergeant Mail. I think this is a must to have for any heavy attack builds. You guys can farm it from Whereas Sewer 1, normal mode. And the third piece would be the Noble Duelist Silks. Stormmaster is a good set as well, but the Noble Duelist being a light armor set, and it also has a little bit more damage compared to Stormmaster, works well. Don't worry about the proc of this set, because most of the time when you're doing your wall of elements, the distance between the wall of elements to your target is good enough to proc this set. In my playthrough, when you guys see there's a light on both of my hands, an orange color light, that's actually Noble Duelist proccing. This chart shows in detail where every set piece should be, the weight of them, the traits they should be carrying, and also the type of enchantment you guys need to put in place. One thing about enchantment, please buy the gold enchantment because they give you the best return for your money. Next, we move on to the skill tree. So in terms of the dark magic skill tree, all we need is blood magic and persistence passive. That's all we need from this skill tree. Don't worry about missing out on the exploitation passive, because the amount of damage from the heavy attacks just makes up for it. Next, we are at the Daedric Summoning skill line. This is a very important skill line because a lot of our skills are coming up from it. We're gonna get the Summon Volatile Familiar for sure. This small guy just does so many good things for us. Then we're gonna get Summon Twilight Matriarch, one of the best burst healing skill on the game. It's amazing, and on top of that, it also does passive damage to the target. And the next one is Hardened Ward, one of the biggest damage shield on the game, honestly. And this is gonna make up for the fact that we are wearing a lot of light armor. The Hardened Ward is gonna give us more survivability. In terms of passive, just take all the passive because it's gonna do well with our build. Next, on the Storm Calling skill line, just take all the passives because all of it will function as long as you have a Sorcerer class skill slotted, and they will benefit our build a lot. Next, we move on to the Destruction Staff skill line. Take Elemental Rage as the ultimate. I just love this ultimate because it's one of the strongest hitting ultimate in the game, and it does a huge AoE damage. So go for it. Unstable Wall of Elements is key for this build because it's gonna proc off balance periodically to your target, And it's also key because most of the time when you go in to lay down unstable wall of elements, you will proc your noble duelist as well. The next one we'll have is elemental susceptibility, and this is a debuff which is a must to have for any casual solo player to bring in that major breach and also additional damage because of all the status effect it brings. And in terms of passive, get all the passive because it's just gonna help your damage. Next, in terms of light armor, take all the passive because this is key to bump up your penetration and also crit chance for this build. And for this build, we are actually using all three type of armor. So for medium armor, take all the passive as well, and also for heavy armor, take all the passive as well. All of it is gonna work together on this build. And guess what, guys, the next skill line, Undaunted, is going to be very key because you have all three weight in your armor set. So get both the passive, and the last passive in Undaunted is actually going to bump up all your resources by 6%. That's going to be huge. And next is the continuous attack from the assault skill line. It's a very easy to get one. Just go to Citadel, do a 5 to 10 minutes tutorial, and you will guys get it. And this will give you a permanent major gallop, 30% speed to all your mounts. Go ahead and grab it, guys. Next skill line we have is the racial passive for Dark Elf. Grab all of it because it's going to benefit this build a lot. And the next one we have is for alchemy. Grab medicinal use because it's gonna give or make sure when you use those tri potions, the buff you're gonna get after you consume it will last longer. Talking about potion, the recommended potion for tough content for this build would be the tri health potions. And the last one we have in terms of skill line is provisioning, and this is going to be key to make sure all those expensive food you guys gonna eat and will last longer. Talking about food, Bewitched Sugar Skull will give you guys the best performance for this build. I'm using it in all this playthrough in the back end. The thing with heavy attack builds is you don't need much of sustain because the heavy attacks will return resources anyway. So might as well max out all your stats for the most optimum performance using Bewitched Sugar Skulls. So this is the active skill bar layout for the Heavy Attack Sorc. Skill 4 and 5 is your pets. Have them out always because they will give you more life as a passive buff, and they will also attack the target you did a fully heavy attack. That's how you target your pets. The target you do a fully heavy attack, they will go and attack that target as well. And this goes same for your companion, yeah? So that's how you control which target your companion and your pet work on. So in skill number 5 is your matriarch. Once the matriarch is up, it will do passive damage to your target, and if you need a heal, you press number 5 again and the matriarch will do a huge burst heal, not only for you, also to another target and to the matriarch itself. So if you guys see the playthrough, Isabel is surviving a lot because of the matriarch's heal. That's one of the beauty of a Heavy Attack Sorc. You have a good group heal burst at your disposal. Skill number 4 is actually the small guy. He will constantly attack your target, but do activate him as well. He does AoE pulse damage on top of that, and it's a good decent damage. So always keep him activated with that pulse damage. Skill number 3 is how you open up a fight with a boss or an elite because you want to debuff them with major breach, and then keep doing your heavy attacks. Skill number 2 is your survival skill, right? Another beauty of the Sorc is it has one of the best damage shield in the game. In fact, this shield will give you guys like 11,000 plus more protection on top of your 27,000 life. So you guys can see why even with light armor, I'm basically in medium to melee range with all these Bastion Nymics bosses because of this damage deal, right? It's a lifesaver. Keep it up always. Skill number 1 is basically, a good area damage. It will make sure you are in range to proc your noble duelist as well. And one of the most important function of skill number 1 is to proc off balance on your target periodically, so all your heavy attacks do more damage, right? So always keep that up on your main target. And as usual, your spammable in this build is heavy attacks. Keep all those skills on the bar active and ready, and rip off as much as heavy attacks that you can do. And your ultimate, just lay it on the ground. When it's ready, it will do massive damage on top of your heavy attacks. Moving on, we look at the green CP tree. This is actually the active slottable CP for the green, which is recommended. And next we move on to the blue CP3. These are the active blue CPs you guys want to slot for this build. And next are the blue CP passives, which a must have for any solo casual build, because these guys give so much mitigation. They help with your survivability. And the next ones are the active slottable raid tree CPs you guys gotta have. The two on top is standard. The new ones you guys gotta look at is relentlessness, which is amazing because when you get crowd control, you're gonna get major protection that moment you need it. And celerity is just amazing because speed means survivability. Use it, you guys will be like just walking out of AoE attacks with this speed buff. And that's it, guys. A simple heavy attack build which went through Bastion Nymics in a solo mode and completely destroyed it. Try it out. I'm sure you guys will have fun as well. Thanks a bunch for hanging out with me today. We are still in our journey to reach 1,000 subscribers, and when we reach there, for one lucky subscriber, crown or Necrom copy, you guys pick, but you're gonna get that gift. Subscribe to the channel, guys, and like the video. I'm Casual, and GG's, guys.